Savage. Real talk, no filter on Savaged Unfiltered. Savaged.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to Savaged Unfiltered. My mic here. There we go. Almost fell down there. But anyway, guys, I'm Savaged here. Welcome to the show. We have a returning guest here, Sherri, and another guest here, Krista. Sherri's been on the program here once before. She got into some of her background with the FBI, mafia, backstory to that. Hearing it when she was on the show, and I was like, "Wow, I'm blown away." I usually comment in between, when people speak, but some of her story that she shared here on the podcast was amazing. I was like, again, I was blown away by hearing it. Some of the story there up in Georgia and the surrounding areas of, what was it, North Carolina, I believe. There was parts of it. I strongly suggest you guys go back to the Savage Unfiltered library and check out that episode with myself here, Joe, and Sherri, known to the Twitter world as Target U. And she's got an amazing movement that she starts there, and why she started the whole Target U. And you're going to understand why, because there's a lot of people that are targeted by a lot of bad people, evil people, toxic people. And I know a thing about toxicity because I was involved in toxicity with, certain people, and I'm glad I'm not around those people, because those people can really put a warp around your brain and your livelihood. And I strongly suggest, guys, if you are involved in toxicity or any of that evilness, get help, or talk to somebody that you feel safe with, a family member, a friend, a work colleague, because being around that, guys, it just gets a lot worse. But without further ado, let's bring in Joe. How you doing, Joe? Welcome. Obviously, right? Welcome.
I saw that your mic tried to attack you. What's up with that?
It did attack me. I got to bring it up a little closer. Yeah.
Bad microphone. Bad microphone. Put it in the corner. Yeah.
Slap it. Don't slap it. It'll be over there against the damn wall. But yeah, guys. Joe, we're going to welcome Sherri back to the show, known as Target U on Twitter X. Yeah.
Well, we did karaoke before, so let me bring her in with Sherri, baby. Sherri, baby.
Oh, God. And what does the judges give? 0, 0, 0. Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, Simon Cowell gave you a 0 over there, Joe.
Yeah, I'm no James DeLisco Beeks, obviously.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Speaking of Jay...
Yeah, no, he wasn't a cross-dresser playing Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. He was Judas. Yeah. Just another... I don't know who you're thinking of, but you're maybe thinking the Lilith there, Judas.
Joe, I always put the humor in sometimes. No, guys, I'm not a rookie podcaster. I've been around this field for many, many years, going on 5 here with the network of Spotify, but talk radio for about 22 years, for like behind the scenes type of thing, as a tech guy, wire guy. But yeah, let's not waste any time. I want to bring in Sherri here. Welcome, Sherri. Welcome back to the show. How are you, ma'am?
I'm great. How are you, Savage?
I'm doing fine. And tell me a little bit about this guest here that you decided to bring on the show, Krista. You kept on telling me, kind of behind the scenes, like as we were discussing in private DMs, like why she would be a good fit for the show. Can you tell us a little bit of the story that connects both of you guys a little bit?
Well, Chris and I actually met through a targeted victim community. She became a advocate for victims because she actually became a new delegate for the state of Colorado. So I'm really excited that she did this, and she's going to be fighting for victims and the ones that aren't going to be. No one's fighting for people that are being targeted. I mean, it's a hard thing to fathom. But as I heard you say, I think it was a couple of weeks ago that you had realized that you were being targeted a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. It's actually a really strange thing. But she's working on the neuro rights. There has been a neuro right bill in Colorado that just passed, and we're going to expand on that a little bit and add to it. Not only where it includes your neuro rights, but also your DNA and your intellectual property rights. So I thought, we needed to come on the show and kind of congratulate Colorado in starting this neuro rights bill, because hopefully every state will actually adapt to it. So that's what we're hoping to do, because we don't have the 702 bill that protects us, right? That protects us on the privacy rights, but at least we can get it to where they can't, try to get into our neuro rights side, because
I did see that she is a new delegate there for the state of Colorado, and congratulations, Krista, for making that happen, right? Or having the state of Colorado make that happen for her. So hat tip to her for that. Before we bring her in, you did mention that, I was targeted and everything. I get targeted every single day. I get targeted by, radicalization, people that are just very misinformed. We just did a show on Juneteenth and Independence Day, where people constantly, they challenge me on just for an example, like with the differences and then there's others. I'm just using that for example, because it was just a quite recent recording we did. But, like a lot of these people that target, they target people for different types of reasoning, right? They target people because 1, they're not informed, 2, they're uneducated, and 3, they just live a toxic lifestyle. You see that a lot in today's society. And when people are not strong and they don't have a strong presence behind them, they want to invoke that onto the people that are strong, right? They want to try to bring them down to their level. And that's very unfortunate, because you see that every single day. Especially this country. I've mentioned time after time after time, we are becoming a nation that is so politically divided. And I think we're more divided now than we were, in the 1800s. And I mean, it kind of ties back to what we were just discussing on a previous recording. But do you have any side comments on that before we decide to bring in Krista?
Oh, I truly am 100% in agreement with you. We are so divided right now. It's not even about Republican and Democrat. It's literally about evil and good at this point. Yeah. I truly believe that.
Yeah. Joe, I know Joe has maybe his hand up here. He's kind of waving me a little bit. Yeah, go ahead, Joe. I know you probably have a comment.
Again, like on the last show, I defending Juneteenth as a Republican thing. The Civil Rights Act was a Republican thing. LBJ co-opted. They're now trying to co-opt Juneteenth by honoring that to make it a Democrat thing, even though they were the ones that were the slaveholders. You are absolutely right. Not all Republicans are good. I'm a Christitutionalist first, right? A Christian who loves our Judeo-Christian foundations and our U.S. Constitution. Not all Republicans are good. You are absolutely right. I am not a Republican Party hack. I will call out Republicans and CNOs any and every day of the week. This is good versus evil, as you put it, and there are Unfortunately, only very, 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 very few good Democrats left, but there's a spattering here and there. But Dennis Prager says, I think it's important, there's a difference between a liberal and a leftist. The leftists are all bad. Classical liberals are often, sadly, hysterical snowflakes and useful idiots to the left, but they're not all bad. Like if Brandon Strzok woke up, right? He red-pilled. Candace Owens red-pilled. So, but there are very few good liberals left, but we can reach some of them, and not all Republicans are good. There are plenty of evil Republicans we need to be rid of too. So you couched it correctly. It's good versus evil, not left, right, Democrat, Republican. Good versus evil.
Yeah, and let me chime in here, guys, before we continue the conversation. Guys, you just heard the voice, and if you're depending what platform you're listening to, whether it's video or audio, it's the voice of Jay Leonard, Detroit, also known as Joseph M. Leonard. You can catch his podcast at Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, available on Buzzsprout or anywhere a podcast is heard for that matter. And he's also aligned here with the show Savage Unfiltered with our X Spaces Savage Underground, usually on Saturday nights, and depending on a couple little special broadcasts spaces that we do along the week. Now, Krista, Sherri, I forgot who I'm talking to for a minute. Jesus, good moly, man. So Sherri,
I'll say anything right now, you know.
Yeah. You know, see what you do there. You talk and it's like now you know Savage is not a scripted show. I'm very unscripted, so I believe in that. But
you need more Monkey Cult coffee. More Monkey Cult coffie. You're still obviously you're not fully up yet.
I'm not.
Michael, I need Savage on Spotify.
With some of her background story, Krista, welcome to the show. Can you basically introduce yourself to the audience here, the listeners here of Savage Unfiltered?
My name is Krista Jordan. I live here in Parker, Colorado. I am a delegate for the state of Colorado. I'm also an advocate and an outspoken person to end the targeting in the world that we know it.
Yeah. And you mentioned that, you know, you're an advocate for ending the targeting as we know it. Tell us a little bit about the targeting, you know, of what you see it now in the United States. I'm using the United States for an example because obviously we're becoming a country that has probably the highest forms of human trafficking. Guys, these are not just spin. This is not just narratives. These are facts. You're seeing it every single day. Can you tell us a little bit about what you see, you know, with the whole targeting background?
Well, I see that, you know, big tech has really infiltrated itself with the military-industrial complex, trying to force America and countries around the world into communism, Marxism, totalitarianism. And you've got the medical field working on the medical tyranny side, trying to force people to get injections, forcing them into things that they truly do not know, you know, the side effects or the outcome of what they're doing. And it's sad, but when you follow the money, you find your criminals.
Yeah, follow the money, find the criminals. I love that terminology because you see that today, you know, especially with these COVID jabs that you just mentioned, a lot of misled information, what was, you know, pretty much presented to the American people. You're still seeing it to this day with some of these COVID jabs. Joe and I have discussed that numerous times on the show with the whole COVID and the vaccine background of people are just not informed, and they still aren't informed what truly is inside these vaccines. But God forbid, Krista, if you mention anything, even to this day with COVID or the vaccines, you're labeled an extremist. You're labeled a conspiracy theorist. You're labeled a person that's just a dangerous person. But what the hell is wrong with constantly bringing up the what ifs? What is isn't that America? I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the only difference between a conspiracy theorist and the truth is about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
Can you guys
right.
see me?
No, I mean we got you plugged in as a phone call, but we
Okay.
yeah, you're good. You're good. Don't worry.
Well,
The name. Well, we've not changed
everybody.
Oh.
Oh.
We've not changed the name to protect the innocent, but we are protecting your face identity. But regarding the targeting, and I've got a personal example, but it isn't about me. It's about the information. I only give it because it relates. It's important information. It doesn't matter if it were me or Mike or you or Sherri or anybody. In 2016, Hitler and Politico attacked 200 of us on Twitter. It was the start of the Russian collusion delusion. They accused us of being Russian agents, Russian bots, all of that nonsense. That actually was the start of the Russian collusion delusion. When they seen they could get away with attacking us on Twitter, it was working to morons who don't pay attention to anything. That's when Hitler then bought and paid for actual collusion with a Russian for the Steele dossier to then attack Trump with. Mm-hmm. So again, it's not about me per se, but it relates to the whole targeting thing. The information is what is important, not me.
And Joe, this kind of ties back to some of what we discussed in the X Space last week. I noticed Pedro getting into that. And why am I bringing this up, guys? Because I'm going to bring up things that are relevant, okay? I believe in relevancy. Pedro brought up that in the Savage Underground X Space this past weekend with targeting, right? A lot of what he's experiencing, even to this day, he's former CIA, guys. He's still being targeted by the same people that targeted him 5 years ago. Going 5 years later, he's still fighting that good fight. So targeting, when you say targeting can be brought up with many, many backgrounds, right? It can be brought up with manipulation, corruption, greed, creed, all that stuff. And it does happen to people of big figures like Pedro, right? Others, like look at Donald Trump. He's being a target, right? He's getting targeted right now from the radical left because of his messaging. They don't like that. They don't like him being a political guy, right? He's an outsider fighting for America. And when you see people that are that are spreading that message, they have to bury you, right? They have to bring you down to that level. They can't have you up here. They have to have you down here, and that's unfortunate, Joe. It really is.
Yeah, it's all Saul Alinsky. It's all Saul Alinsky attacks. Yeah. It wasn't about me. It was about setting up the attack on Trump, and the attacks on Trump aren't about. They can't talk about policy. This is all about deflection and distraction. Unicorn fart fantasy delusion. Any of us who deal in reality and facts, they have to Saul Alinsky assault with distraction.
Savaged and Joe on Spotify.
And I want to go back to some of Sherri's, story here a little bit, Sherri, if you don't mind, because I noticed that when we did have Sherri on the podcast previously, we got into some of what she experienced with the mafia and a little bit of the FBI, and that's very interesting. And you do have to be careful because like Joe mentioned, she is considered a whistleblower. And I do applaud for her bravery coming on the show. Now, Sherri, before we get back to Krista, okay, let's talk a little bit about, somewhat of what you experienced, and then a little bit of what we're discussing here on the show. Mainly, we're getting into the politics of, people becoming targeted for certain types of rhetoric or certain types of messaging. That's similar, Sherri,
Michael Gardner,
with
uncut,
entire,
raw,
story.
and savaged.
Yeah, and to an extent.
Right. Well, when my attack happened, I should say, last year, it led me down. I was like that little meme that you see with the big huge rabbit throwing you in the hole. That's what it literally looked like. And I had with mine, it became out to be, when I actually started realizing what it was and literally connecting the dots, because it was a long connection of dots. Went back to, I could go back to when I was 15 months old. So I realized that I really wasn't what they call a targeted individual. You do not want to use that word because of FBI relations. But I became aware that I was put into an MK Ultra program. So I'm actually an MK Ultra survivor. Well, victim, I should say. Haven't survived it yet, but I'm trying. And the only option that they left me was to expose this thing. So
if you don't mind, you just use something that I'd like to ask from a comment with you. You said you shouldn't use that term targeted.
Targeted individual.
Yeah. Why should you use that term, targeted individual?
In documents that I've found that in correlation with the FBI, if you use the word targeted individual, they've actually put you on a terrorist list.
Okay.
As that term, and as well as to be considered delusional and insane. So that in itself was an actual plan to do that, because they had this thing well thought out to where they would put these people that they actually are targeting, and they would put it to where they can all join in like calls together, where they're all isolated in different areas of the country. And it's an amazing plan that they put together. I mean, I have kudos to them, but you have to read through in between the lines on what they're actually trying to do.
Yeah. And, I was going to bring something up here, but, where was I going to go with this? Oh, so you're mentioning, it's a great idea that they're going along with this type of program and everything else, to protect people like yourself and, possibly maybe Krista here. But why? Here's my question. Wow. Sometimes you have to let it marinate a little bit. Why is certain individuals not protected as other individuals protected? You understand what I mean by that? You see certain individuals that are protected to the gazoo, and then you see other individuals that are, that they've gotten or received the same type of rhetoric of behavior from these other toxic people, but they're not protected to the same extent that the other people are. What's going on with that? Because I see that. I don't know if you do see that at all.
Well, it all depends on what type of status you have. The most targeted individual that we know of as in today's society is Julian Assange, as well as President Trump. They have prestige. They have a lot of people that are actually are awoken to what's actually happening. Yeah. And there's just other people. They make sure that these other people are isolated. They have no support system. They have no
Savaged and Joe on Spotify
for them at all. Oh. And so I think that's where it actually comes into like Chris and I, for instance, we have a very similar situation in our background, where the type of people that are in my background are in her background. So we kind of we get to dig together to see how connected it is. It's all connected somehow. We're all targeted victims are connected in a lot of relevancy, aviation is huge in this thing, and one thing that Krista has focused in on is actually being able to, I guess, identify planes that are above her head and what type of like planes or helicopters that are going around. She's able to tag them and track their tail numbers to see what type of company owns it, who owns it, why are they out there. And it's pretty incredible on the factual data that she's collected.
Yeah, Krista, what are these planes that Sherri is referring to that you can identify? I guess it's a talent or a gift or something that you can tell? Like, explain, please.
So in my targeting, like they start the program off with like a mob, like you get mobbed. You'll have a lot of cars following you with dark tinted windows, fake paper tag plates, that expired like last year.
Okay. And
then I started noticing the planes. Like every time I'd walk out the door, there was a plane above my head. And then I started getting hit. I started getting hit with direct energy weapons, like massively, getting radiated, burnt from these. And then I started noticing, these same planes are around at the same time I'm getting hit with direct energy. What is the correlation, right?
Yeah, what is the correlation? I mean, have you ever brought this up to local authorities or people of that caliber and say, hey, there's some weird shit going around my house, helicopters, planes, and everything else. Like you might want to look into this. I mean, have you brought it up to them at all or no?
I have brought it up to law enforcement before, and they pretty much they're in on it. A lot of these are police helicopters, Department of Defense contractors with the military industrial complex, Air Force, Army, Air Methods, Flight for Life. You would think that these people in the skies are there to help. No, they're there to hurt. It's quite the opposite.
Well, they may not be part of the cabal, but they want to protect their paycheck, so they're willing to let themselves be used. But Sherri used the exact proper word: isolate. Right? The Saul Alinsky tactic again. Isolate the target and try to discredit them. Call you a loon, say you need to be put in a mental hospital. Now, I'm not going to take a position of one side or the other on this story, whether it's happening or not. But the story deserves to be told, because it can be Sherri and Krista today. It can be anyone in this audience tomorrow. If they see you get traction, you become a target.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Already spying on us 24/7 with our cell phones that we all have, right? They're already spying on our habits, which is, everyone has already noticed this by now. If you haven't, then it's probably, you might be a little bit too slow. But when you look up something nowadays on Google, maybe like a certain product or a certain, anything that you look up, 2 seconds later, you go back on your regular social media apps, there's an ad that pops up that is showing you exactly what you just looked up on Google like 2 minutes ago. That's not a coincidence. It's some type of spying, it's some type of data collecting that they're doing already within your smartphones or any smart devices or any devices that has essentially a computer chip in it nowadays, that they can spy on your activity, which is the type of content that you consume on the internet, on these platforms, the type of comments that you might leave on these platforms, and everything that you do that involves these technology products, smartphones, and on the internet. They're already spying on you, tracking on your data, and they're selling your data to someone, or they're creating this AI, which is basically they're catering some type of advertisement just for you, because they know your search histories and your patterns of things that you look at. And so they're already spying on you to some degree. And now you're just telling me they are going to be able to use the executive power of the government, the judicial power of the government, to now prosecute you for perhaps something that you do that is consider your American citizens' right, your what is it? These constitution rights that you're supposed to have, and now they can just trespass that and essentially put you in jail because they can say you are guilty by association with the Russians. What is it? The Russians. What are these scams that they've been talking about? Not scams, but what did they go for Trump with? The Russians.
Russian collusion.
Collusions. Yes.
Well, they were just saying that Trump was colluding with the state of Russia, and that was a crime in itself. But no, this is not specifically about prosecution. This is about investigation.
When you know things about the government, when you know things about law enforcement, when you know things that you probably shouldn't know and you've tried to expose it on an activist level, they don't like that.
No, they don't. Well, because they first of all, I want to quote my good friend Pedro. I know I'm bringing him up a lot, but it's a lot of what we're discussing, we were discussing on the past X space of mine on Twitter. They just can't handle power, Krista. They don't.
Does that surprise you?
Given that the history of the Democratic Party and their operatives like Brennan and so forth, not at all. I mean...
But that's illegal. They're not allowed to do that.
They just can't handle power. The amount of power that you can have in some of these secretive agencies is so much that some people just can't handle it. And it basically corrupts them. It gets to the point that they almost lose their conscience. I mean, when you've got so much power that you can just upend somebody's life, you have got to find a balance to be able to keep your conscience. I have found officers or senior leaders who basically have become so desensitized through the years that it's almost as if they lose their conscience and they can no longer see right or wrong. And it's like it's my way or the highway.
They don't know how to handle power. They get to that level, and a lot of these bureaucrats and corrupted politicians up in Washington, and maybe possibly where you're at in Colorado, they get to that caliber of that political specter, and they're like, whoa. I mean, they don't say it out like whoa, but like in their mindset, they're like, I mean, it looks like their head's going to explode. I mean, because they just don't know how to handle the power.
Savage,
and they want to corrupt.
Savage, as you knew, I'm expecting an electrician, and he's pulling up. So I love the conversation. I'd love to still be involved, but my electrician is pulling up, so I've got to drop out of this show, as you knew I would have to at some point. So,
all right. Take it easy, Joe. Yeah.
Hats off to you, buddy. Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Bye, Joe.
And that was, guys, you just heard the voice of Joseph M. Leonard, the co-host here on the show, Savage Unfiltered. Unexpected dropout by Joe. He usually sticks around, full recording here on the podcast. But, hey, everybody has personal lives, right? They have to attend to things that need to be done. But I want to get back to what we're discussing here. But before I get back, guys, I do have to plug this in, guys. A sponsor here on the show with Blackout Coffee. That's right, guys. It is truly America's coffee for America's warriors. And it is literally the most delicious cup of coffee that I've ever experienced. It's better than your Folgers. It's better than your Maxwell House. Literally, guys, it doesn't leave any jitters. No crashes, right? No typical coffee crashes usually after an hour. It's usually, usually you find that, right? And in coffee today. But with Blackout Coffee Company, you're not, guys. Use this promo code SAVAGE for 15% off your order at checkout, and you're going to thank me later. Savage, I should have came here years and years ago. Well, yeah, you should have. They've been great to us here on the show, so thank you very much to all the guys there on Blackout Coffee. There we go. I need some Blackout Coffee. I'm getting there. But yeah, back to the show. So Sherri, wow. So we're getting into these military type of helicopters, possibly some airplanes that are flying around our heads, and we're questioning like what the hell is going on, right? I got into a little bit of how politicians and people that may orchestrate this become corrupted and everything else. I'm going to get into that a little bit before we dip out because we are running low on time. But I want to get back into the helicopters, Krista, with, is it continuing? Have you seen a decline in some of the presence of this, or is it happening every single day more and more and more?
I would say it's on the rise because just like in that movie, The Police State, that's exactly what they want to do. They want an unmanned aerial vehicle with weapons on board in case, you're acting out of character, you're speaking out of turn, whatever. They can hit you with these direct energy weapons. They're neuro weapons, and they're listed. They are listed. The patents are listed on the UN website. They each emit a different frequency, and when you attribute the frequencies to the patented weapons that they have on board these helicopters and these DoD contractors in the planes, it also says what the effects are of each and every one of these frequencies. I just find it odd that all these patents and everything is listed on the UN website.
I don't find it odd at all. You know why I don't find it at all? Because you just brought up a really good point. They're like encryption of software and technology that is literally put in place to attack maybe your devices, right? Your cell phones, your tablets, your computers. But why? Why? Well, I can tell you probably why. We're starting to live in a society that the government loves to spy on us, right? Loves to understand where we're going every single day or who we're talking to. It's almost like they're afraid of the people, right? Government is becoming that. Yeah.
I would like to plug in, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Chris and I were on the phone really late the other night or morning, I should say. And we were just I was going over some pictures and some evidential stuff. And one of the pictures that I had was with me and the handler that we were getting on an airplane. And she goes, wait, and she goes, let me get back to that plane that you're getting on. And I'm going to track the tail number. And we couldn't really find it. But then when I started digging into some different things, I think that when we were talking about my story, that I was talking about how aviation plays a big role with the Lockheed and the NASA, as well as the, just aviation in general, like the Delta. Boeing. And it was, we had a deep dive into that, and Krista can confirm this. My story got a little bit bigger and deeper and darker when we started, and I was like, we were both blown away what we were able to find on the people that were actually still, I guess, in direct connection with my life. And it goes to 33-degree Masons. It's insane. It was, we were,
yeah.
Go ahead,
the
Krista.
Masonry organization, a secret society, even to this day. I can get into the whole Masonry society linked towards a lot of our political figures back in the day. There was, some odd rituals that, isn't really shared, even in, schools and classrooms in early education. But that's on another episode. But, so let's get into
It's all connected. It's all connected.
Oh, it is. It is all connected. America is a mystery to this day. A lot of our history, a lot of people don't understand, why some of our modern politicians act the way they act. It's said very perfectly. Like they are literally afraid of us. Because you have to understand something, folks. They were never in charge to begin with. We are in charge. We dictate and we allow who gets to represent us in that office, who gets to sit in that seat, whether it's on a state, local, or federal level. We decide, not them. But it's been twisted the other way around, where it's almost like, and I'm going to use these terms, a mobtocracy. These politicians are acting like, former mafia members that you would see in the early 90s, 80s, 70s, and 60s. They are acting as a mobtocracy. they're trying to manipulate into our own society, modern society of a culture, to try to dictate literally our livelihoods. And we have to stop that. And I constantly say that on X Spaces. If it's on my X Space or countless others, like, we have to eliminate this, because if we don't, you are going to be the next targeted individual. And I know we're not supposed to use those words, but I mean, you're seeing targeted individuals every single day, from political figureheads, from big corporate monopolies. It has to stop, Sherri and Krista. It really does. Yeah. I'll leave a side comment if anybody wants to jump in, but yeah.
Well, it used to be back when I was first targeted, which is probably going on about 10 years now. It used to be that there was very few support calls to go to. You really had to dig to find information on this. But I'm here to say that as far as I can see, there's like 8.6 million of us out there. Oh, and the community's growing. It used to be, it was 1 in every 1,000 people. Now it's 1 or 2 in every family.
Oh, yeah.
So this is growing at a rapid rate, and I'm here to represent the targeted community, and you can find us on tievents.org. And if anybody out there is being or feels like they're being harassed, stalked, or targeted in any which way, they can find all of our calls listed there, our podcasts are listed there, and any of the community events. But we need to take our country back. And that's exactly why I threw my hat into the political field, because I figured if I couldn't beat them, I would join them and then beat them.
Yeah, and you notice how I just gave you another, hat tip like that. I always give hat tips to people. It's, the Italian in me, maybe half Italian. I'm Scottish too, guys, but the half Italian in me always give the hat tip, the applaud to people that, that throw out, great information or great content in that. And if you did miss the website, guys, that Krista just put in here on the show, we will put that in the show notes on our audio and video packaging on video with Rumble and Vimeo and X and all that. So don't feel that you missed it. We always put informative information with the show notes, production notes on both of those formats. So as I close it out with both of you ladies here, where do you see our country going, particularly in this election year of 2024? Where do you see the country going after this November? And I'm gonna pause right there, because the reason why I'm gonna pause right there is because our country is going to be led differently on any one of these candidates, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Do you see more of the targeting with some of what we mentioned here? Because I did mention a little bit of the slight of the human trafficking, what you are seeing still, and that is still being heavily presented on the southern border. We are still seeing human trafficking coming in, linked to drugs, sexualization, and all that, including even in our homeland here in the country, even on federal scales too. That there is human trafficking. Yes, guys, the federal government does participate in human trafficking a lot. You won't hear that on mainstream because they're afraid to present that narrative. But these are clear facts. So back to my question: where do you see our country going after this November? I'm going to go to Krista first, and then I'll go to Sherri. Krista, thoughts and comments, if you don't mind, please.
I see as America needs to rise up. When I go to these meetings, whether it be at county, district, or state level, everybody should be there. Everybody needs to stand. The patriots of this world that love this country, that love the fellow man, and strive for freedom in everyday life, need to get up off the couch, turn off the TV, drop the phone, and take it to the streets. Let's get some banners out there. Let's start forming some patriotism, a tide. And I can honestly say this right now, that if we didn't have Trump If Trump did not get into office, we would not be here right now. I can promise you that. But I can also say this to everybody out there. Remember this. If you remember nothing at all from this, your brain has no firewall. And these hospitals, these psychiatrists, these psychologists know this. And they have sold your DNA rights. There's tons of breaches within the medical field and the psychological field to put people into these neuro programs.
And really good points that you just made at the end. You know, if I'm trying to remember how you said it, if Trump was not put into place, that we would not be here right now. And I'd like to comment on that real quick because you know, a movement that he had started 4, 5, 6 years ago. We would not be discussing this huge movement, probably the biggest political movement in our history, our nation history. We would not be discussing this to this day. He brought up literally the sleeping giants. And what I mean by sleeping giants is he woke people up, the right people up. And he still is to this day. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're targeting him and attacking him for his messaging and his political movement, because it's the strongest movement, and they're afraid. They're afraid for their asses, folks. Literally, I'm gonna get a little unfiltered because that's what my show is about. They're afraid. They're afraid of this man leading the charge for we the people, because it's about us. It's not about them. And I love that about Donald Trump. He doesn't put himself first. He puts us first. And that's what they don't like. They don't like an outsider. He's not a politician, guys. He's an outsider. He's just like you and I. Yeah, he's worth a little bit more than maybe you and I, but it doesn't matter. We shouldn't label him like that. We shouldn't label him a billionaire. We should label him an outsider because he's not a politician. And that's what I love about him. Sherri, some final thoughts, and then we're going to close it out.
Well, and you know, if everybody just takes his words, I mean, he is a smart man. He has been, you know, he's not a billionaire for just any reason. When he has on his website, his slogan is, "They're not after me, they're after you, and I'm just standing in their way." He literally means that. He knows that these people are after us to control us, to depopulate us. They depopulate us, and they already know that. And you mentioned the human trafficking. This what we're talking about, the targeted community. And really, to be honest with you, everybody is a target because they want to control everybody, correct? Well, this
absolutely
the community, when they target someone, there's all sorts of income producing streams to this. They have dead peasants insurance. They have all kinds of like offshoots to make money on you. When you were born, you have a birth certificate. They actually trade as a stock certificate. And this is the deep state, that stuff that a lot of people aren't aware of. So under this big umbrella, as human trafficking, all the income that's produced from our medical HIPAA violations of selling our medical data to selling our DNA. Our DNA literally has a MAC address to it. And that's a lot deeper of a thing to try to put right here. But I'm just trying to let people aware of there's other income streams that feed this diabolical movement of trafficking our children. And it's all about our children, period.
Yeah, it always will be about our children. And I'm going to comment. Amen. Yeah, amen to both of you guys. But you know, I'm going to comment a little bit, and then I'm going to close it out because, again, guys, we are running low on time. But I'm trying to get the respected airtime to both of these tremendous set of ladies here on the show. But you mentioned something very, very, very accurately. You know, they track us through our servers of computers, right? I mean, you can get probably the strongest IPN protection software, but still, they can go right through that firewall, guys. You know, I constantly plug in a good company here, ExpressVPN, but even ExpressVPN, I mean, I've noticed some lag with the software. You know, they can go right through it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you can get the greatest software in the world and not get attacked or targeted through, you know, these hackers, right? Or these federal hackers, for that matter. They can get through it. So, I mean, how the hell can we protect our free speech? How can we protect our livelihood, our sovereignty as a nation, when you have deep state establishments similar to what Sherri just said? And I'm going to leave it there, guys. I do want to say thank you to both of you ladies for joining us. It was an honor speaking to you again, Sherri. And it was a great honor meeting your friend here, Krista, that's a delegate out of Colorado, and a new delegate for that matter. I'm learning, and congratulations once again for being that delegate. I wish we see more delegates in all of our states, no matter what background or political background you represent, because I'm not going to be biased, guys. We do have some good Democrats on the left. They're not all radicalized. But I do want to make this point, guys, so you understand that I'm not biased. I don't show favoritism on one side. We do have some radicals, right? Some rhinos and some CINOs that are supportive of those backgrounds, and they have to be spoke about too. But the radicalization, guys, that we're seeing in this nation, we need to end that. If we truly want to be a nation that's looked at with respect, because you're not seeing that anymore. Our country's not respected by the world. If we want to be a country that represents free speech, we're not seeing that either. That's being taken away from, corrupted bureaucrats in Washington. If we want to be a country that expresses free will and liberty and right to support any type of religion without getting rhetoric, we don't see that. That's also being taken away. Well, you're not going to have a country. You're not going to have a country. We're just going to be a third world banana republic. And you don't want that for your future children. I don't think anybody wants that. And the targeting and the human trafficking, that has to end too. Because if we continue to go down the path that we are going to lose this nation for good. And I truly don't want to see that for future generations. Other than that, thank you very much, Sherri. Thank you very much for coming on.
Michael.
Yeah, real quick, if anybody wants to learn more about you, if you want to plug in any information real quick, like a minute or less, and then I want to go to Krista for some plugs and some information. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Well, they can reach me on my handle at targeting you. It's at and then targeting you. If they want to reach me on Twitter, and then if they want to, I have a conference call on Wednesdays and Friday nights, and they can reach me on tievents.org, and it's under Target You. And we're having Dr. Lori Ann Page on this Wednesday night. She is one of the huge psychiatrists that is going to come and support our community because that's, very well needed in this community. So thank you so much. And I'm going to let Krista tell you a little bit more.
Yeah, Krista, please, if you want to plug something, try to keep it within a minute, because my producer here telling me we are running low on time. So if you want, to learn more about Krista, guys, as she is a new delegate for the state of Colorado, please check her out. Any information that they can go directly to find more, Krista?
We just meet on a lot of the calls, like Sherri's call. But tievents.org is, there's calls every single night. There's prayer calls. There's, on the political side, we're forming work groups now to end this targeting. Because I tell you what, if it wasn't for the good Lord above, we just need to stick close with God. And another thing, too, is I want to see this stopped for the future generations. I do not want the children targeted. There are children on the domestic terrorist list that are 3 years old and have Down syndrome in a wheelchair. You tell me how that little kid is a terrorist.
Yeah.
These Department of Homeland Security, these fusion centers need to be shut down because they're corrupted.
Yeah, they are. I mean, these people need to be held accountable for once and for all. I mean, stop allowing this to happen, the madness in this country, especially what Krista just mentioned. I mean, damn it, man. It's these children are just, they're thrown in this toxicity of a world, and they don't even know what the hell they're experiencing, because some of these children are young as infants and, you know, newborns and toddlers, and they don't have that mindset as an adult would understand or recognize. And it's unfortunate that these kids, they grow up in this terror, you know, especially you just mentioned terror watch list and, you know, all those types of other lists. But guys, I'm going to close it out here. I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. Both of you ladies were very informative to the show here, Savage Unfiltered. Guys, if you missed any of the information that was listed, again, we will put in show notes here for you guys to understand and look at your own leisure. And most of this was very informative information. Again, guys, some of this stuff that you probably won't hear on mainstream. And I use that very, very accurately, because it's the type of narrative that they don't represent and they don't honor, because usually you'll see them spinning or twisting this language because they're trying to push back against what you're trying to fight for. And it's unfortunate, it really is. On Savage Unfiltered, you'll always hear the truth, and you'll always hear informative information. I'm Savage. Thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time, guys, take it easy. Alrighty.